So I think that goes over everything I need to go over with you. So we will go ahead and get started with Greg. If you could come off mute and share your camera. Take it away.
Hi, everybody. My name is Greg Havens, and I am the 6th grade GATE teacher at Martone Elementary School. And today, I would like to share with you a project I like to call Mixing It Up. And basically, the overview project came to light around parent-teacher conferences. I wanted to have some sort of digital artifact or item that I could share with students and parents on how my students are doing. So I created kind of a quasi portfolio for them. Go ahead and advance the next slide. Using these 4 applications, I use OneNote, and I kind of ignored OneNote for many years until I kind of needed a notebook that all of my kids could share, and this was the best. Distance learning allowed this to be the best avenue to go. So I've fallen in love with OneNote, and it is my new jam. And so we use OneNote. You may be familiar with that. Also, the application we use is Sway, and I'm a heavy user of Flipgrid, so it allows my students to make videos. And then I use a program called Soundtrap, which is a website, and what it is an online recording studio, and it costs a bit of money, and I go ahead and I budget my class, I pay for it myself. But it is district okayed to use, so I ran it through the powers that be, and I have a license on my site just for me. And I like to use it because it allows students to collaborate and to build podcasts online. So using those 4 applications, I'm able to put together a portfolio of students' work. So I'd like to share one of those portfolios with you today, just so you can get an idea of what the possibilities are. So go ahead, Alexandria, go ahead and go to the next slide. So let's go ahead and check it out here, and I'm going to share my screen with you. And unfortunately, I'm on a MacBook Pro, so I won't be able to share the audio directly from the videos and the audio recordings that you hear, but I will be able to, you'll be able to hear it just playing in my room here. So can you guys see my screen? Are you able to see it?
We can see it.
Great, okay. So this is, the main palette and the backdrop is a Sway. So all of my kids produce their work inside of OneNote, and that's where I do a bulk of my writing and reading response and text-based questions and things like that. But once they do that, and once we kind of go through the process of they're ready to publish, I have them publish on a Sway. So this is a Sway by a student in my class named Belina, and this is her view where she's been working on it. And the way that the Sway is set up, I'm going to go ahead and go to the play mode so you can see what it looks like. And if I click on this outline here, it shows you the different sections of her Sway. So this is her home page, and she's in love with this thing called Sausage Cat. Every day she comes online and she has like multiple Sausage Cats in her frame with her. So you're going to be seeing a lot of Sausage Cat today. So the first chapter is her thoughts on how her first trimester went. The second one is what she learned in language arts. The third chapter is what she learned in math. And then I had them take all of their media. I'm a firm believer that students can show me what they're learning if they can tell me what they're learning through different applications. So we use Soundtrap and I use Flipgrid exclusively in their portfolios that they use. And then at the end, I'm able to put like a little written evaluation for them and their parents just to kind of talk about how they've done. Yes, it goes on the report card, but I like to add a little extra at the end. And in some of them, I even created a video just talking about highlighted moments. So it gives more of a personal touch. So I'm going to go ahead and get into her Sway right now. So this is her title page. And the first chapter is my thoughts, the good and the bad and the ugly. We talked a little bit about that movie and how it was one of my favorites. So you can see a lot of her writing, which is taken from her OneNote, and it's processed and it comes through. She's a pretty sharp kid as far as ability. And then she goes in and talks about language arts. And I'm going to skip through all the writing, although it is important. And you may have seen a grade there. I do give, since my kids are in 6th grade and they're going into junior high, I do expose them a little bit to unofficial grades on some assignments, just so they can get idea of what it's like to get a grade, because in elementary school, we use the standard-based reports card. So this first item here is from Soundtrap, where I check her fluency, and what she does is she reads a chapter or two of a book every night, and she's able to read and record it and post it inside of an assignment, so I can actually go through and hear and kind of monitor her fluency. And all of my kids do that each night inside of Soundtrap. So at the end of the year, they have the stories that they've read or the books that they've read, and they can actually have a podcast of the books that they've read, all the chapters, so they can go through and listen to them read, or if they have a younger brother or sister they want to play it for, they have that. So just let me play a few minutes of this for you.
Hello, it's me, Belina, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 10 through 11.
You guys hear that okay?
I hope you enjoy. Stanley had no
Yep,
trouble
it's coming through loud and clear, Greg.
but morning came much too quickly. Every muscle and joint in his body ached as he tried.
And the nice thing about that is we can kind of listen to them together in class, and we can talk about fluency and articulation and reading with expression and things like that. And it really kind of ups their game, and they want to do their best job possible, because now their reading, it goes from turning into something that they have to do into something that they want to do to perform. So I'm a firm recommender of Soundtrap. And another nice thing is it also has Soundtrap allows them to make podcasts, but also has loops, so they can do music also. So they can create their own bumper music for the beginning and the ending of their podcast. And we're just now getting into that. Another nice thing about, let me skip through some of these are videos that she created, but I'll get to some of our good ones. Another thing that Soundtrap allows them to do is it allows them to, just like they would be sitting across from the table, I can put students in a breakout room and they can actually record on the same project together. So for this, they were reading their social studies text for the week. It was Studies Weekly with their group. And I'll go through a few different parts of it, and they're able to share the reading. So one person will read, and they're all recording at the same time. And when they're done, it puts it all together in one file. So let me fast forward a bit.
Of the Mediterranean around.
So here's Belina reading.
The Phoenicians may have been the first to circumnavigate.
And this is another student reading her part.
Also say that
And there's another student reading her part. So the nice thing about it is they can now do readers theater from their own home. So they're able to record into the same project. And then once they finish the recording, and it takes a little bit of practice. It's a little bit cumbersome, but these kids are digital natives, so they pick it up pretty quickly. So it's a process to get up and running. But once they do, boy, they're off and running and making some great products. And I only have 12 minutes here, so I'm going to keep going. So math. Another thing that I loved about one of the new apps this year, Flipgrid, is it allows my students to show me the steps that they take, especially with the new math that we have, and it's one math. It emphasizes the steps and the procedures. So here's a video of her doing a performance task at the end of a chapter on graphing.
The first thing that I did was that I wrote out all of the graphs points that I needed to graph on the coordinate plane. I chose these graph points.
And the nice thing about this in Flipgrid is I can actually give her feedback as a video. So if you're familiar with Flipgrid, it's a fantastic program, and I can give her feedback on what I thought of it. I can give her some encouragement and maybe some I wonder statements just to kind of get her thinking in the next steps, so to speak. So that is kind of how I use Flipgrid on their assignments. And then the last section of their SWAY, rather, is media. And I had them take 10 of their favorite medias of all the projects that they've done in recording either audio or video, and go ahead and put it here. So this is her and her sister doing PE for the morning. So I'd give them a superhero video you can find on YouTube, and they would watch that and follow along. Or a readers theater group. So it's another group of students that did a readers theater play that they presented to the whole class. Here's where she interviewed her parents about their 6th grade experience. We talk about how 6th grade is that pivotal year. So it's her interviewing her parents.
Hi guys, and that's my dad. Hi. So what years were you guys in when you were in 6th grade?
I was in 6th grade in the year 1994.
So here's her working on her volcano project, a little bit of science. One project that we also talked about in 6th grade, we talked about story arcs. So we talked about how stories take place and how they need to have a kind of a rising action, a climax, and then they have to kind of fall down and they resolve themselves. So I had them write a little mini story or a skit that they would perform. So we took about 3 to 4 weeks to write a Halloween skit. And she wrote a story about becoming a persimmon, being cursed and becoming a persimmon worm. And she enlisted the help of her aunt one weekend that I had them go shoot inside Flipgrid. So Flipgrid doesn't allow you to edit the videos at all. So she had to really plan it out. And we talked about this and we practiced and practiced. So you have to shoot the whole video, multiple scenes in one shot. So she did.
It's a fine October morning and Farmer Francine is getting ready to go to her garden, when suddenly she hears a knock at the door.
I wonder who that could be.
She walks towards the door to see who it is. It's Dr. Serafina.
And then she pauses the video here, and then she starts recording from here. And we worked on this.
Hiya, Dr. Serafina.
Then pause it.
Hi, Francine. I've got something urgent to tell you.
Urgent? What's
So this video goes on, and it's a story about how she becomes cursed by and becomes a worm from a persimmon. And then they just add water, and then she comes back to life. And it's good. So in a nutshell, I know this is rather fast, but and then here's my evaluation of her. I took the video off just because it's more of a private thing. But that is my project that I wanted to present to you guys today, using those 4 applications, using OneNote as my new jam and where all my kids create their material, and being able to copy and paste it back into Sway. And then from there, bringing their learning to life through Flipgrid, making videos, and also Soundtrap. And Soundtrap cost me about $200 for the whole year, but I figure, you know, it's worth it to have the tools that I like to use and the district okayed that I can use it for safety reasons. So, and I know Matthew Ketchum has used Soundtrap before, and it's a great program. So I highly recommend it, especially for teachers who are dealing with kids who are working on their fluency. It's a great way for them to have massive practice and be able to read. They get really excited about it. So that is my presentation. And are there any questions?
Hey, Greg,
Thank
thank
you.
you. That was a really great presentation. And no, I didn't see any questions.
Okay, great.
Thank you. I'll go ahead and take control back of the screen.
Okay.
So thank you again, Greg, for that. I really enjoyed all the tools that you shared with us. The OneNote, this way that your student put together is really impressive. Using Flipgrid and the way she paused and played it to do those recordings and actually tell the story was really neat. And then thank you for sharing about Soundtrap. Again, just to reiterate, the district does not provide Soundtrap. It's not a district license we have. Greg did go through the process to request that so that we could vet it and make sure it was safe for students. And then he did purchase that on his own. But you can see that he has put it to great use with his students. So thank you.